morning. Good morning. I'm Tom Merrill, grateful member of this community, and this is a good time to greet your neighbors. Hey, so if you would, take this time to turn off any devices that you have that might interfere with the sacred space here, cell phones in particular. We know that we are already connected to the Spirit and don't need those devices. They just get in the way of the sound system. So welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. We honor you wherever you are on your path, your spiritual path, and know that there is something for you here this morning in word and in music to take you along that path. So join us in the morning chant, led by Bodhi, and words behind me, yes, which will be followed by spiritual mind treatment offered by our practitioner today, Marilyn Letsos, to take you deeper into your center.
I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing heaven today. Goodness, I'm choosing goodness today. I'm choosing goodness today. I am walking the road of goodness right now. I'm choosing goodness today. Love, I'm choosing love today. Yeah, I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of love right now. I'm choosing love today. Peace, I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing peace today. I am walking the road of peace right now. I'm choosing peace today. Heaven, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heaven, and it returned to me. I send my joy over the mountain. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heaven, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountain. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heaven, mountain. I send my passion over the sea. I send my passion into the heaven, and it returns to me.
So abiding in this place of power, of passion, of love, of peace, I go deeper into that part of my heart, inviting everyone to go into their heart, into their heaven, into the sacred presence. That sacred presence which is everywhere. That source of all that is, which inhabits every square millimeter of its creation. Present and potent everywhere. It is impossible to be without, to be outside of this source, this power, this love, this beauty, this peace that seeks expression, that seeks to make itself known through each and every one, wanting to be felt and expanded. This infinite all-knowing wisdom that knows all things, right here, right now, always available. And this is this part of me and this part of everyone is the heartbeat, is the life force. And so knowing that each one is utterly alive with this power, with this perfect life, I speak my word for a new space to be opened within each one for a greater experience of this sweet beauty and love, wisdom, all that seeks to be expressed in wonderfulness, in the spirit of spring, of expansion, of new growth today. I speak my word for that awareness that the entire universe is folded, enfolded, and kept and held and loved and lifted up by this perfect order, undefilable order, that in spite of our noisy dramas that we call human growth, in spite of appearances, and even because of appearances, and in the midst of appearances, this order holds the universe, each one, each life, each community, this community, in its divine and perfect embrace. So knowing now that the treasure lies within, I give thanks that each one is ready for greater expansion, for greater awakening this morning to the words of our beloved Reverend Mary. Giving thanks that this is already so, I say, and so it is. Amen.
I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heaven, and it returns to me. Let's all take a big breath together. Welcome to Earth Day. So I thought, who better to represent the power of Mama Earth than Lakshmi? Yeah.
Thank you.
So this song is called Naked, but it's about a nakedness of the heart, a nakedness of the soul. Naked as a sunrise, bare as a baby. All the dancers fall in line, they don't think maybe. This time, gonna get it right. This time, gonna come out like the sun. This time, gonna get it right. This time, gonna come out like the sun. Well, as we walk up the mountain of trial and tribulation, our hips begin to sway as we get into the rhythm. This time, gonna get it right. This time, gonna come undone. This time, gonna get it right. This time, gonna come out like the sun. Well, as we walk through the valley of tears and sorrow, the feeling that we're having is maybe tomorrow. This river of tears is melting us down. As we let the sorrow flow, the light's gonna come around. This time, gonna get it right. This time, gonna come undone. This time, gonna get it right. This time, gonna come out like the sun. Bare as a baby, naked as a holy one. As we let the rhythm move us, we're conjuring up the sun. We're coming undone. Coming undone. Coming undone. Coming undone. Well, as we wade through the waters of fear and separation, we dance our minds away and become part of all creation. We're coming undone. Coming undone. Coming undone. Coming undone. Getting naked, naked as a sunrise, bare as a baby. We're called Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Wow, 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 wow. You know, I don't remember who said it, but somebody said that the Great Spirit's most favorite instrument is the drum, and that's why all of us have been given a heartbeat. I love that. I would like to invite the welcome guests team, that's not what you're called, to invite you forward. This is our special time to welcome those who are here for the first time. And lots of you have been here a gazillion times. But is anybody here for the very first time? We won't make you say anything. We're just going to have you give a wave so we can bring you a piece of info. No? You are all homies today, is that true? No, we got a new one? Oh, at the very back. Yes. The lady who so kindly avoided my phone that was taking up all the space in the bathroom this morning. Welcome, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, great. Let's just give her a hand. Thank you for being here with us this morning. We appreciate it. And that's info about us. And if you fill in the little card and turn it in, you get a little booklet about what we teach and believe here, and it'll help you know more about us. Hi to all those of you who are streaming this morning. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, not Reverend Karyl Huntley. She's doing some family stuff today, so I'm here with all of you and delighted to be able to do that. So this is the theme that we're doing, of the Centers for Spiritual Living in general are doing this year, 100 Years of Science of Mind. Not because the churches started 100 years ago, but actually because the first book Ernest Holmes wrote was published 100 years ago. So it's been 100 years since he began to put his work out there in that kind of way, and that evolved into all of us. And so this month, many of our centers are sharing the theme, Where Humanity and Divinity Meet. And that's what Reverend Karyl's been talking about this month. And what I'm talking about this morning is where earth and divinity meet. So I'd like to draw your attention to Mary Cosgrove's altar, first of all. Isn't that fabulous? And so it brings together the ideas of earth and divinity and Earth Day all in one. And so you see the beautiful puffy clouds in the sky, the wonderful tree of life, the earth here, the moss, and then the Buddhas represent humanity, or the highest form of humanity on the planet. We have the growing things. And if you come up afterwards, you can see over here on the right, there is a picture that came from an article she found this morning where the woman in the picture is connected to the earth and her arms are like the trees going up. So you can see all of that, and with the beautiful round piece of the tree of life there. So we're celebrating the earth today, but that's not all. We're celebrating more than that. And I heard about a guy who decided that he wanted to write a book about outstanding churches in the country. And so he started going around and visiting them. He started on the East Coast, and he went to New York and Milwaukee and Chicago and worked his way across to Seattle and down into California. And every place that he went, in the larger churches and in some of the smaller churches, in synagogues, in mosques, in temples, in tents, in yurts, he went all over the place. But in a church vestibule toward the beginning of his journey, he saw that they had a golden telephone on a table. And the golden telephone had a sign next to it that said $10,000 per minute. So he was pretty curious about that. So he asked the pastor what that was all about. And the pastor said, well, that is a direct line to God. And so if you're willing to pay the price, you can talk directly to God. And he was pretty impressed with that, but he didn't have an extra 10 grand, so he didn't do it that day. And as he traveled through the country, periodically he would find churches that had this same golden telephone with the same sign next to it, until he got to California. But when he got to California and he entered the church, he saw the usual golden telephone, but the sign next to it said, calls 25 cents. And so he went to talk to the pastor because he was really impressed with that one. He said, I've been all over the United States and I see this same golden telephone so many places where I go, and all of those calls are $10,000 per minute. Why does yours say 25 cents per call? And the pastor smiles and he says, well, you're in Berkeley now. It's a local call. And that is really the point of everything I want to tell you this morning. It's a local call. It's a local call. Years ago, we had our own religious science personal growth training. Religious science, science of mind, centers for spiritual living. We use all those terms to talk about ourselves. And we had a training called On Course. And one of the things that we learned in On Course comes right out of our teaching, everywhere I look, I see the face of God. It's like, you know, we spend so much time trying to experience divinity. It's already here. You know, you can't get out of it, actually. So when Ernest Holmes said this in his declaration, or what we now call the Declaration of Principles, he originally wrote it for the Science of Mind magazine, and it was called What I Believe. But it evolved into our Declaration of Principles, and this line, I think, is extremely important. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. In other words, it isn't enough for spirit to exist infinitely outside of any manifestation or expression. It's not possible. So the divine presence overflowing with its own self-knowing, its own beingness, automatically creates, constantly, continuously, ongoingly. And so who knows how many universes there are at every given moment, but we exist in this one. And we might say the manifest universes, whatever they are the body of God. And that presence, as it also says in the Declaration of Principles, is not absorbed by its creation. So it is infinitely more as well. So that presence is everywhere, always, in everything and everyone. And we know this. And, you know, it's interesting to me that we meditate often, not everybody, not always, but we meditate often by closing our eyes and focusing on a single sound or mantra. In other words, shutting out the chaos of the world. And I understand that. But take a look out the window. God is happening. You know, take a look around this room. God is happening. Sense your own presence, your own body. God is happening all the time. And we don't really have to go anywhere to find that. We don't really have to do anything differently than what we're doing now. Ernest Holmes, in This Thing Called You, one of his early books, which is truly my favorite one of everything he wrote, your consciousness is the medium between invisible cause and your personal life. Though you were in hell and dwelt on heavenly things, you would immediately find yourself in heaven. Though you were in heaven and dwelt on evil, you would immediately find yourself in hell. Evil is the result of the wrong use of the law. The wrong use of the law. And so heaven and hell are equally present at every moment, depending on where we're putting our attention and our consciousness, what we're worrying about, what we're fearful about, what we're loving, what we're making space for, and so on. So when we're in that consciousness, everywhere I look, I see the face of God. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, also said that anybody may be a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Anybody may be a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. So how do we get to that indwelling God? How do we experience that presence? We are, as self-aware consciousness, kind of like the facets of diamonds. We are, I think, the crossroads. We are the crossroads between the ancestors, behind us in the past, if we think of it that way, and our descendants who are coming after us for however many generations they're coming after us. We are the crossroads between our infancy and our old age. So this here now moment, we're the crossroads. We're the crossroads of the past and the future. Long term, we're the crossroads of our own past and future in this lifetime. And we are also the crossroads between heaven and earth. So as consciousness, we become the place where the sacred marriage is happening. Past and future in our own life, and the heaven and earth. We're that point where they join. We're the meeting place in consciousness. So that earth is what we're made of physically, and heaven is that consciousness ordering and flowing through it all the time. Not just creative law, but divine presence also. And we stand at the center point of all of it. So we stand in the here now. In the here now. Always at every moment we stand in the here now, whether it was, yesterday we were in the then there, but it was the here now for us then there, right? I think I'm coming undone, Lakshmi. Where'd she go? Now, there she is. Now, this is what Eckhart Tolle said in his book, The Power of Now. Now is the most precious thing there is. How many of us spend time worrying about tomorrow or regretting or longing for something that used to be and isn't now? How many of us look in the mirror and complain about the life we are now? Because we're not 30, some of us, anymore. Few of you might be. But most of us passed 30 a little while ago. Deborah's still 30. And yet, it's hard to sometimes to look at that face in the mirror and feel thrilled, feel like I'm at my peak. This is my prime. But what else could it be? Because this is the point of power. So he says, why? Now is the most precious thing there is. This is Eckhart Tolle. Why is the most precious thing? First, because it is the only thing. It's all there is. The eternal present is the space within which your whole life unfolds. The one factor that remains constant, life, is now. There never was a time when your life was not now, nor will there ever be. Secondly, the now is the only point that can take you beyond the limited confines of the mind. It is your only point of access to the timeless and formless realm of being. The now moment, then, becomes the place, the crossroads, where everything meets, the now moment. And that's where we exist, right in that crossroads, in the now moment. Now, one of the things that crossroads provide for us is choices. You can go the long way, you can go the short way, you can pick. You have access because of crossroads. And you have shortcuts because of crossroads. As you can see here, they have the opportunity to cross any which way they want to, so they can go the long way or the short way. Eben Alexander, who is a neurosurgeon, wrote a book called Proof of Heaven. Now, he's a scientist and a doctor. He wanted to call it Patient Zero or something like that. He said, and if I had actually managed to convince the publisher to do that, it would have sold one copy. What happened to him changed his entire perspective about his life, about life in general, and about the universe, because he died while he was still in his body. He had a rapid onset of a very virulent meningitis that usually only attacks newborns. He went into a massive coma and essentially was brain dead for a week in this coma. Now, as a neurosurgeon, he had always believed there was a completely physiological, organic explanation for people's near-death experiences or their death experiences, that it was the chemicals in the brain doing what they were doing and the things were stopping and dying. But after he came out of that coma, after everything that he experienced, this vibrant, rich, brilliant, diverse, incredible experience, and he looked at all of the scans that had been done of his brain over the time he was offline, he knew without a shadow of a doubt that that brain could not possibly have produced what he experienced. And that changed everything. So he said in Proof of Heaven, the world of time and space in which we move in this terrestrial realm is tightly and intricately meshed within these higher worlds. In other words, these worlds aren't totally apart from us, because all worlds are a part of this same overarching divine reality. From those higher worlds, one could access any time or place on earth. And he also says, to get a little, if only a very little, idea of what this feels like, ponder how time lays itself out in dreams. In a dream, before and after become tricky designations. You can be in one part of a dream and know what's coming even if you haven't experienced it yet. My time out beyond was something like that, though I should also underline that what happened to me had none of the murky confusion of our earthbound dreams. And if you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. It's incredible. Amanda and I got to hear him speak in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it was amazing to listen to him tell the story of it, even though I had already read the book. And he has made it his mission for the rest of his life to help all of us, and most particularly his colleagues in medicine, to understand this, because it changes everything. So we, as the crossroads, we also, as a sacred crossroads of the ancestors to the descendants, of our infancy to our old age, of heaven and earth, we as a crossroads potentially provide diversity, experience and expression. We provide that to the infinite, and collaboration. And what that means is that we have this enormous possibility of contributing to the creation that's happening. Sometimes it's called co-creators with God. We are actively brought forth on purpose because together and individually, we're going to manifest even more stuff out of the creative law for the infinite, for that divine presence to express itself more fully and more completely. And I truly can't imagine that there aren't more conscious, self-aware beings in the universe or in many universes, because the infinite has the infinite impulsion to express and to experience and to create. And so diversity, experience, collaboration, those are our jobs. Not to try and become the same as each other, but to celebrate the uniqueness, the differences. I was having a conversation yesterday with some friends of ours in Santa Cruz about the difference between the United States and Canada, and there are lots of them. Even though they seem like just another version of us, that's not quite true. It's a different country. They are not a melting pot. Although I saw more diversity in Vancouver than I generally see in California. They're not a melting pot. They consider themselves a salad bowl. So that as all the different ethnicities and cultures come together, they maintain their unique flavors, their food, their clothing, their languages, their cultures, but they're all Canadians. So they are a place that celebrates that diversity of flavors and colors and textures, and doesn't think so much about trying to make everybody the same as everybody else. Now, neither of those is absolutely true of them or absolutely true of us, but you get the point, right? So we are the crossroads where all of this diversity and experience take place, and the infinite has the opportunity then to play in a bigger, larger way. And so what's important for us to know about all that is to remember that in this vast diversity of creation, what God said to Moses when Moses got called over to the burning bush and got told all this stuff, or went up to the mountaintop and talked to God, and he was told, go back, tell Pharaoh, let the people go, blah, blah. And Moses said, well, who shall I say sent me? And the voice said, I am that I am. In other words, the I am that Pharaoh is, I'm that. The I am that you are, I'm that. The I am that's in every living thing, that I am. That's me. that also means that we are that. And so Belle Ruth Naparstek wrote a book in which she was referring to David Bohm's work. David Bohm is a theoretical physicist. He did research on energy and light. And she described it this way. She said, the brilliant work of David Bohm describes how we are, at the most basic levels, unrestricted, non-local beings. Bohm's central thesis is that the world and everything in it is a vast ocean of energy. In this sea of pure energy, there are no particles, no space or time. In Bohm's physics, the subtlest level of energy is in fact pure light. Pure light. So, we are that light, vibrating at a level that appears as this. But from the enormity of a black hole to the tininess of a photon, that I am is still proclaiming itself as the photon, as the black hole, as each one that shows up, each one of us. And what we find is then that no matter what we think, separation isn't really possible. Yes, we can have disagreements. Yes, we can hate. Yes, we can love. Yes, we can do our best to physically merge with another human being. The separation that appears in form is not what's happening in the energy fields. We know that. So the oneness of that divine is happening all the time. We are a sacred event happening all the time. So not only is separation not possible, but that all, that I am all. Right here. It's not limited to time and space, so all of it is everywhere. All of it is everywhere. Thomas Aquinas gets credited with this, but I'm not sure he's the one that actually said it, because a lot of people get credit for it, saying that the infinite, the presence, the infinite, is a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. There is no boundary. There is no separation. We are all. I am all. We are all. All is all. And all is light. But everything that we see and experience on earth helps point us back to ourselves, to reflect back to us the allness that we are. So sometimes we have to look at what's around us in order to experience who we are. You ever been to a mountaintop or an ocean or a desert where you suddenly felt the huge expansiveness of everything? Yeah, and that immensity that we become aware of, we are also that. One of my favorite poets is David Whyte. He's from Yorkshire. He's an Irishman from Yorkshire, but he's from Yorkshire. And he wrote this poem called The Journey. Above the mountains, the geese turn into the light again, painting their black silhouettes on an open sky. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens so you can find the one line already written inside you. Sometimes it takes a great sky to find that first bright and indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes the bones of the black sticks left when the fire has gone out. Someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. You are not leaving. You are arriving. And so the now point that we're in at all times, this is our arrival moment. In spite of all of our experiences of, past lives and ancestry and descendants and infancy and whatever age we're at now, on the journey to the end of this one, this moment we're arriving in. We can't arrive at any other time. We're arriving in this now moment. What will we do with it? This is a sacred moment, and we are that sacred crossroads. We are the marriage place of all of it. And so is everybody else, right? That's the wonderful thing about it. Walt Whitman said, our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life star, hath had elsewhere its setting, and cometh from afar, not in entire forgetfulness and not in utter nakedness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. And actually, we've never left that home. We've never left that God. We may be trailing clouds of glory, but we're also exuding them all the time. They're not just where we came from, they're what we are. They're what we are. And so, when Jesus said to his followers, "You are indeed the light of the world. Let your light so shine before men that they might see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven," which is where? Within. The kingdom of heaven is where? Yeah, I didn't mean that as a rhetorical question. So when we are in alignment with who we are, even a little bit, you don't have to be 100%. 2% is good. If we're in alignment a little bit with who we really are, then we become a beacon and a bell, a candle for others to shine their light, to tune into that, to borrow our faith or our hopefulness, to stand in that with us for a moment, to let us reflect back to them who they are as we look more deeply beyond the appearances. But we also have to start here. And most of us as human beings grow up with some sense of imperfection or unworthiness or lacking of something. We're so good as human beings at discovering what's missing. Now it's time to discover what's present. Now it's time to really treasure what's present as us in the here and now, what is really right here. This is us. This is the truth of who we are. So knowing that, let's take this moment to turn within. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes with me right now and to imagine you could let your roots go deep, 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 deep down into the mother, into the earth, welcoming and thanking her for her wonderful nourishment, patience, healing, forgiveness. And let's send our awareness up into the heavens with a receptivity to that divine inspiration and nourishment coming into us right now. Let's bring our awareness with gratitude to the ancestors and with love and nurturance to the descendants and to our own life, just as it has been and just as it is now and just as it will be. Bringing our attention right back to the crossroads, which is us. I invite you to put your hands over your heart. And in this moment, as much as you are able, treasure this mystery right here. Honor this I am right here. Trust its revealing, its unfolding, its nowness. It's all here, right now. We are that. We are that light. And I invite you to say with me now, I am that light. I am that light. Yes, you are. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Sing with me. Angels on my side. 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 Oh, la, 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 la. Angels on my side. We've got angels on our side.
Lakshmi.
This September,
There's a
Women's
little-
Spirit Rising.
There you go. There's a little plug for Spirit Rising. Okay, I think it's offering time.
The time for conscious contribution. Would the ushers come forward? If you ever listen to NPR or PBS, you will hear them say, these programs are made possible by viewers like you. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? I consider Golden Gate our spiritual broadcasting system. We offer classes, wonderful music, poetry, great talks, education, so many things. And it's all made possible by each of you. We're grateful for your contributions and for your presence. So this would be the time.
Oh, Mother God, flowing through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our life, for the hands of the earth, and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, flowing through our hearts. Mother God, flowing through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our, for the bread of. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Mother God, thank you for this day. Wash over me. There's joy in my heart, and I share with you. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Mother God, going through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for the hands in the earth, and the root of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. 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 Oh, Mother.
Now, say with me,
This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that wherever it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. So it is.
Ah, what another beautiful, wonderful Sunday morning. And we want to take a few moments to just appreciate everybody who was in service this morning, everybody who did set up, Steve and his team who prepared food, Lakshmi, Bodhi, Amanda doing the music, Rick back there doing the sound, Ron on the streaming, Tom on the streaming camera and streaming, Ceci on PowerPoint, and all these beautiful practitioners over here who are going to be available to pray with you after the service for little mini prayers, and also to Mary Cosgrove for this beautiful altar. And if I forgot you, please forgive me. We love you, we appreciate you, we thank you. So let's give everybody a hand who participated this morning. This afternoon, okay, hello. Okay, well, I guess it's going to be on you, Ceci. This afternoon, come on up, Marilyn, is going to be Religious Science Quick Start, which is a renovated version, renovated, updated, newly revised, that's the word, version of Quick Start, and Marilyn is teaching it. So she's going to tell you a little bit about that. Yes. Oops. Can we turn her up a little bit, Rick?
Am I? Oh, yeah. Okay, would like you to know that this course has been designed as a very deep explanation to a person who's not familiar with science of mind. And everyone whom I know who is coming today has already either attended once or has been in this philosophy a long time. And I'm offering it as a chance to go deeper and to respond to your specific questions and to really explore and practice spiritual mind treatment and other spiritual practices that make a difference in every day of your lives. So if you want more of what you got this morning, come on over this afternoon. It's at the Learning Center. We'll start at 12:30, and the meeting will last until 3. And even if you haven't, it's no charge for this. And if you haven't signed up already, you can just see me over there at the table, or else just show up at the Learning Center. There are directions to the Learning Center on the education table right here. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. It is offered free, but we do accept love offering. That would be great, too. And Jim Hovey, I forgot to thank him for setup. He is here every single Sunday doing everything. Okay, next. We are now in the season of Taurus. If you are a bull, this is your time. And so if you're a member of Golden Gate, one of the perks you get for being a member is you get a free session with a practitioner. And so what you can do is go over and pick up one of the things over here to fill out so that you can set up your appointment and you can have a full-size free session with a practitioner to be your annual checkup to get your life tuned up. So please take advantage of that. Bodhi has a sound healing meditation coming up on Saturday, June 28th in Fairfax. What did I say, June? No, April 28th in Fairfax. Talked to him about that this morning. And Lakshmi has a table over here, I believe, with her CDs, yes, available after the service. Next Sunday is Fifth Sunday Brunch. Jed isn't here this morning, but she's actually not home cooking. I asked Hinman. She's at another meeting today, but she will be ready and prepared for you next week. She's doing the food, although you can bring side dishes if you want. But the most important thing is to sign up, so she has some idea how many. And where is that sign up? No? No sign-ups. She didn't want to sign up. Okay, the infinite is telling her how many are coming. Do carpool because there's limited parking, all right? And it's next week after the service. And then, finally, Reverend Karyl is doing a really big finish. She's doing 3 workshops that various members of the congregation have requested, and the first one is spoon bending. doing what seems impossible. And so if you're interested in learning how that is done, you can sign up today for that workshop over here at the education table. And then the 2 other workshops will be coming up in July. And also, you'll see in your program on the flip side that Reverend Karyl is going to be doing a number of Sundays where she does giveaways. She's going to be bringing her Goddessy Sunday clothing. She's going to be bringing a bunch of stuff. And you can pick through books and clothing and jewelry and whatnot on those Sundays. So be sure and stay tuned for that. The beginning of the info about that is in your program. All right. And so now I'd like to invite the practitioners to surround the room as we prepare for our blessing together. Let's take a deep breath together as we close our eyes and know that right here and now it's happening. Right here in your chair, it's happening. God is happening. Breathing us, opening our minds and hearts, teaching us how to let go and how to receive. So we welcome this goodness with great gratitude, knowing as we do that as always, Spirit guides our way. And so it is. Please stand and join me for the morning's affirmation and the peace song. All right. God, the infinite mystery, is the all there is in all there is. If this is true, this mystery is the all as me. I am a miracle of limitless value, and so are you. I treat myself with loving kindness, knowing who it really is inside.